All right, welcome back. This is another episode of the Coast to Coast podcast. We took a couple weeks off as I was in the middle of basically finally getting a chance to do my full-time job, something that was put on hold for an entire fall, but busy college soccer season this spring. But now that is over. It is now basically summertime, although it doesn't quite feel like it up here in northern Wisconsin. But as usual, joined by cousin Phil. Eric is off tonight, but we are hoping he will be feeling a little bit better and be back next week. But once again, this is the Coast to Coast podcast. Thinks the earth is flat. So it never sat well with me.
Do you want a company that refuses to use your call box or
have to be patient? I don't understand why Chelsea gave him the tax so quickly.
Want to know who's the cheap shot spread? Christian Laettner. You want to know who everybody talks about? Christian Laettner. You want to know who's one of the best basketball players ever in college? Christian Laettner.
All right. Good timing to be back here. Back literally just in time for the NBA playoffs here, which is always good. I think basically everyone's played just about one game right now. This might be a couple games going on literally as we speak as well. So we've got a little bit of a taste of what's going to be in for the next couple weeks here as we enter round one. Philip, you proposed an interesting question. Which lower seed team that won game one has the best chance at an upset? And I'm kind of I feel like there was way more upsets for game one than usually happens. I'm curious what you have. I definitely have a couple answers. I mean, I already know what I'm going to say. But before we ask that, I want to ask you one thing. Your New York Knicks are back in the NBA playoffs, and I feel like
NBA Jam, baby.
I just feel like it's been a long time. Are you watching the Knicks games? Like, do you have a Patrick Ewing
I
jersey?
only have like the local. I mean, I should bust out the Patrick Ewing jersey. I think I lost it as a child though. I only have local channels right now, so I'm limited to ABC. So when they're throwing that nonsense on TNT, who has cable? I don't understand. Who's paying for this? Why isn't this just? So I got to figure out a better way. I've been watching the highlights. I've been following Julius Randle. Seems like a terrible game, but seems like a great guy. It kind of reminds me. I kind of have this wonder of, watching the Knicks in the 90s. I mean, obviously you kind of hated the Bulls, but like the Indiana Pacers series, like I remember when Rick Smits hit a game winner. Like I had his basketball card and I was like ripping it up. I was like, this is garbage. Like Reggie Miller, where these guys become these villains, right? And I wonder if like Trae Young, this series, hitting that shot, shushing the crowd, like if just New York is he's just gonna be a villain for a long time, because they'll probably meet in the playoffs again and have these battles, and it's kind of cool to see the Knicks being relevant enough to have a villain, where they're like, we don't like this guy, we hate this guy.
I literally completely forgot about like super fan Spike Lee until I was out and about late at night, and there were the Knicks, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is the playoffs. This is the New York Knicks. Like, this isn't supposed to be happening right now, but there they are, and my God, they almost won a playoff game, which is even more rare in the last 2 decades.
I think it's been eight years or something since they've won a playoff game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they whacked out the Boston Celtics in the first round 8 years ago.
I don't remember that.
But yeah, those were great series, by the way. Knicks Pacers, late 90s. You're talking, oh my God, Reggie Miller. I mean, literally ESPN did a whole 30 for 30, like just on Reggie Miller.
It was back and forth, and it was like multiple years. Like the Knicks had like these grueling series with the Pacers, with the Heat. Who was it? Was it PJ Brown or Charlie Ward that just got chucked by Alonzo Mourning and Charles Oakley cleared the benches? I mean, there were some great 90s series.
Patrick Ewing missing a layup at the buzzer to win the series, which, by the way, took 7 steps, but it's the NBA. I guess he was just ahead of his time.
I guess he was. And it actually, that shot, it reminded me of years ago when Tim Duncan and the Heat were in the finals of Game 7 against the Heat with the Spurs, and Tim Duncan gets it, and he missed. It's like a shot, almost like Patrick Ewing, just like that thing, the shot he's hit a million times in his career, goes off the back rim. Tim Duncan, the shot of him like hitting the center court, like kneeling down, the most emotion we've ever seen from Timmy in like 20 years.
It's there.
And it reminded me of the Patrick Ewing shot in that series. And it's like, when you're just like, oh, that's going in. And you're like, I think back to it. I'm like, no, it's just weird. You think back, you're like, no, it goes in. That shot didn't miss.
Shut up.
So
who you got?
yeah, but right now, so for those who don't know, the teams that won, the lower seeded teams, I believe it was the Mavericks, the Blazers, the Hawks, the Grizzlies, and I wanted to ask you, did the Suns count? Does the 2 seed in the West playing the Los Angeles Lakers count as the lower seed, the underdog in the series? Are we counting them as well?
I mean, well, it's going to dramatically change my answers, but I mean,
I think we should.
It.
I think we count the Suns. They were, I think, the underdogs going in. I think everyone thinks LA is going
heavy
to
underdogs going in, like heavy.
Yeah, and Chris Paul probably has a real a real injury, unlike the person that tries to get an Academy Award every time he gets touched on the other side of the court. And I'll get into that later. So it's interesting looking at it. You have a couple, like, as much as I love the Knicks, I mean, this is a good Hawks team. They could beat them. The Mavericks, the Blazers. Gosh, it's hard for me. I think it's really close. I think I was curious to hear your take first and give me more time to hear your reason and then maybe change or be swayed by your answer. Because you said you had one.
I went with the Hawks right away. I mean, it's the
right
New York Knicks. Is anyone? I mean, I did watch that game live, and I don't know. There's just nothing that makes me feel like the New York Knicks are for real, and it's probably recency bias of, I don't know, the last 7 years. But does anyone? I know you're a Knicks fan, but do you want to see James Dolan's franchise advance? Like, I want that guy out of the NBA. He's bad for basketball.
He's unless you can record him saying some racist stuff, like, and then release.
Oh, he's locked in. Don't get me wrong.
He's locked in. So, no, I want no, and especially now with like the Brooklyn Nets, it's funny because you hear around, nobody cares about the Nets. Nobody in New York. The Knicks are relevant. Like, no one cares about Brooklyn, and I love that. So no, let's absolutely keep the Knicks as relevant as possible, so we can just rain on Kyrie and Durant and Harden's parade. So even if they win a championship, no one shows up. Maybe they won't even have a parade. Maybe it's just 2 blocks and 17 people of their family and friends. So no, I do want them to succeed. I do want them to win. I hope with this roster, with them winning, with it being New York, one of the epicenters of like basketball in the world, that they get some free agents. Chris Paul is a possible free agent. DeMar DeRozan's a possible free agent.
You're high on Chris Paul.
Dude, I'm not high on Chris Paul. I'm just level where Chris Paul is. He needs respect, and you disrespect him. And you're going to have to make that right with God or whoever you see as a higher power, and that's on you. But for me, I'm not going to pick the Hawks because I'm not going to go against it. I'm gonna put it on Luka, and I'm going to say in the Blazers. I think the Blazers and the Mavericks, but I'm going to go with Luka because God, what was
the team I had was the Blazers.
So what the team that was what I saw that I think was trending on Twitter when I got on the other day, I think it was Pandemic P. For those who don't know, there was Playoff P, Paul George, who talked, and last year we ragged on him, and I actually felt bad because when I heard the full story of him being in the bubble and dealing with depression and all that stuff, I was like, oh, had I known that, I would have retracted a lot of what I said because mental illness is serious and dealing with that is hard in any setting. But now he's at full strength. He's talking a big game. And up until like the 3rd or 4th quarter, like he was pretty bad. He was deferring, passing off open shots, going 4 feet off. He was looking like, and then it was trending Pandemic P because he was playing so bad. So I think Luka Doncic is one of the best 5 players in the NBA, and he could lead them past this Clippers team and make Kawhi leave in free agency and go somewhere else and just destroy that franchise because they have no draft picks. So I'm going to pick of the teams, I'm not going to pick against the Knicks. I'm not going to pick against the MVP. I'm not going to pick against the Lakers, and I'm not going to pick against the 1 seed. So I'm going to go with the Mavericks, the best chance to upset. My second would be the Blazers, but I'm going to go with the Mavericks.
What about? I mean, do you think if you were going to bet, like how good of a chance you think Damian Lillard and the Blazers have?
If you were to break it down, probably 65%. They might be the favorites now with the game 1 win with Damian Lillard without Jamal Murray. They probably should be favored. I probably should be picking them because Dame's a monster and he destroys people. And they don't have Jamal Murray. And, Jokic and Michael Porter both showed up, but they both played, and it still wasn't enough. So the Nuggets are in a tough spot, and I'm not going to be surprised if the Blazers win. No, never mind. Changing my pick. Blazers. Blazers are the most likely chance.
How far do you think the Lakers can go as a 7 seed? You got to say championship, right? They have the pieces
it's got to be
go all the way. Yeah,
but LeBron didn't look like he's 100%. Before all the flopping, before the theatrics, he doesn't look like he's 100%.
So, is there a chance then that some of this flopping is real?
No, the flopping's not real. He does that on the regular. Like, that's regardless of those moments when he is like, hey, it's theater time. Like, I got to prepare my acting for Space Jam. I was ready and primed. He just doesn't look like LeBron sometimes. Or maybe he was just resting. Maybe the game got out of hand. And again, Chris Paul's health. But again, that's just getting through the series. So the championship, I think it could be the Lakers still. They're still probably the pick. You bet on LeBron until proven otherwise, and I think that that's fair to make the finals at least.
I think LeBron showed in the play-in game, like, if he has to dig deep, like, it doesn't matter if he's banged up, like, he still got it. That shot over the Warriors, that was like, what, a 30-something foot three-pointer?
It was the longest shot he's hit all year.
And it wasn't like a heave or anything. Like, LeBron said it best, like, I practiced that. It was perfect form, fading away from what felt like a country mile. Like, normal NBA players can't
Adam
do
Silver was losing his mind. He's like, this is it. Like, I made the play-in tournament. It's LeBron shooting it over Curry. It's Adam Silver is someone that can't miss.
Tournament.
My goodness. I'm not a huge fan of it. Because a lot of reasons, which we can get into another day, but he was the biggest winner on that shot because you have LeBron versus Curry. They're both going lights out. LeBron's hitting it over Curry, making up whatever. I can't see. Liar.
Yeah, what is that? 3 rims? What's he talking about?
It's interesting because I don't know if he actually believes it. So this is the point I want to get to, because LeBron is one of the most durable players in the league that we've had. He doesn't miss a lot of games. He's built differently, but if you breathe on him wrong, he just falls to the ground. And he's like, boxers who have been KO'd that have to go through concussion protocol get up faster from the ground than he does. And like the Chris Paul thing at the end, like, he might have actually tweaked his shoulder because, like, shoulders are iffy, and like someone that's dealing with 2 shoulder injury, like that, like playing basketball where it doesn't look like much, there can be, but like, the way he milks it on the ground, the way that he's there,
it's so obnoxious.
It's obnoxious. It's annoying to the game. Kobe and Michael Jordan never wanted their opponents to know they were hurt or to give off those feelings. LeBron, like, just celebrates any contact, and it feels like, and this is one of the things I wanted to run by you. Michael Jordan has the flu game. We all grew up with the flu game. We all know about the flu game. And it feels like LeBron is legitimately, whenever he gets a chance, he wants to create his own flu game. Like, he has this idea that, like, when he has his documentary, when he's on the chair, like MJ was talking about it, that he's going to be like, I was seeing 3 rims, I couldn't see. And he's going to show the replays and like him, like, turning to Steph. Like, I think he actually thinks that far ahead because he has that creative vision and mindset where he's creating his narrative to be better than Jordan. And I think that comes into play with shots like that, when he's doing these things, when he's going to the reporters and saying 3 rims, because he knows when he makes his documentary, there's not going to be one footage of him flopping, of one footage of someone going like this, and it's this far from his face and him like falling to the ground. It's only going to be the narrative of him talking about these moments of playing through injury, playing with the wrist thing on it in the Golden State Warriors series, hitting the shot with 3 rims and like, I couldn't see, like all these things. I think he thinks about the documentary, and I think that that's why he builds it up. He wants his flu game, and that's how he has to get it. And it's,
I think he's taking it a step further. Like, I don't think it's a flu game. Like, I think this final kind of third of his career, or whatever you want to call it in terms of metrics, it's been like, I feel like he's trying to shape this last part of his career as him playing through injury. Like, I don't think he's looking for one game. I think he wants the part of his career where players start to decline a little bit to be remembered as not him declining, not him being best of the best by far, but instead as LeBron, the guy playing through X, Y, Z every night.
Early he said like
he said a couple
he
weeks
said-
ago about his ankle, like I might never be 100% again. Like, give me a break.
I think that's. And I mean, high ankle sprains are nothing to mess around with, and maybe not, but I think he sets that up again. Documentary when it comes up and he wins a championship, he can be like, "I was only 90% and I beat the Nets." And I think it's all about building that legacy of like, how do I top Jordan if I can't get 6 titles? Well, man, if I get hit in the eye, if I win at 80% against these teams, like he went and said like, "Oh, I won the 2 toughest championships." The Golden State Warriors and the bubble. And I'm like, okay, the toughest championship that I can remember in my generation, Dallas Mavericks against you, and they beat you.
Yeah.
You had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and Dirk Nowitzki had a 37-year-old Jason Kidd. Like, get out of here. That is the most impressive title I have ever seen. And for him to just be like, and the second is probably him against the 73-win Warriors. But like, I think he sets these things up where he's saying these things, where he's trying to get these conversations going to repeat the things that he does again. So when he makes his documentary, when he makes his last dance, people are going to be like, "Oh man."
I think some of it is. I think some of it is also to try to combat the narrative of like Michael Jordan didn't continuously recruit all-stars to play with him, max contract guys. Like at the end of the day, like look. LeBron's going to have that anytime there's a conversation about him, Michael Jordan, or any other greats, how LeBron's rosters have been constructed. Like it just can't be ignored. So, but
it will though. I think it will, because Greg, listen to this.
That's true. We know who's going to make it.
Well, we know who's making the documentary, and we know where the league has been, like what Kevin Durant is doing, what other stars. People are going to continue to do this, and it's going to be more common, and people are going to forget that LeBron is the one that started this. And when we're 10, 20 years out, 30 years out, and he makes his documentary like Michael Jordan, one, that behavior is going to be normalized. And two, so like when he's talking about this stuff, like we're not gonna think about the roster construction. We're not gonna think about how he jumped teams, how he threw away a Lakers season to trade all their assets to get Anthony Davis, and how they held the Lakers hostage. We're not gonna think about that stuff. We're not gonna think about how he complained about the Cavs when they had the highest luxury tax in the league. We're not gonna he's gonna not feature those things. And like just like the Last Dance, let's not pretend Michael Jordan didn't do this. Okay, I didn't have a problem with the glove. You had a problem with the glove. We all know this. Check the stats. Like there's a reason why all Michael Jordan's teammates, Scottie Pippen, all these people are like didn't like the documentary, thought it was dishonest. And it was because he wanted to shape himself in this way that makes him look like the best. Because he's like, he sees LeBron coming and he's like, I gotta, show the world why I was the best. And LeBron's gonna do the same thing. And it's recency bias, it's the power of the documentary, control your narrative. And so I hope there's a lot of people that speak up and say the things that you were saying, because I mean, a lot of facts are going to get left out.
Agreed. All right. One other team we haven't touched on, which is surprising because we usually almost talk about one of these New England teams. And I guess the fact that we
hold up.
on.
Wait, before we do, can I just say one? Oh, no, we're getting into that. Never mind. So
I was going to talk about the Boston Celtics.
Whew. Okay, good.
I don't really have a lot to say, to be honest.
No, I have a new segment, and you're going to have to get theme music for it eventually. Where I'm going to do rapid questions. And here's the segment for those who doesn't know. I'm going to ask Greg yes or no questions, and he has to immediately respond. And if you don't, I'm just going to move on to the next question.
Oh God.
So, and then I'll come back to it. So you can't be like, oh, well, it's yes or no. First thing right away.
And so they're all yes or no.
They're all yes or no. Okay. And this is all for his beloved Celtics. And listeners, you can think and go along at your own pace, and we'll see how he does. And then we're going to talk about some of this stuff. So, Greg, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that an appropriate response time? I was testing it out.
No, that was way too slow. Let's try again. Are you ready?
Yes.
Too slow. Are you ready?
I got to process what you say. Like, you got to give me like 1 second.
No.
Okay.
Yes or no? First thought, first reaction. So, are you ready?
Yes.
God, that's still so slow. So,
all right, just pretend there's an audio delay. Give me 2 seconds. To...
No, I'm going to move on. I'm going to give you give you a second and a half. Ready?
All right. Yep.
Are the Celtics getting swept?
No.
Are the Celtics soft?
Yes.
Was Jabari Parker a good signing?
No.
Chicago Fall get more minutes?
No.
Will the Celtics be a top 4 team in the East next year?
No.
Should they trade Marcus Smart? Should they
No.
fire Brad Stevens?
Yes.
Will Time Lord ever be an all-star?
No.
Okay. Should the Celtics trade Kemba?
Yes.
Were the Celtics better off with Kyrie?
No.
Is Danny Ainge at least 25% responsible for the Celtics' poor season?
Yes.
Should the Celtics try and sign Chris Paul next year?
No.
Should the Celtics trade Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum?
Yes.
If there is an 82-game season next year, will the Celtics win more than 45 games?
No.
Done. Okay. Wow.
Okay, some of those questions, like I have no idea what direction the whole franchise is going to go. Like 45 games, I don't know where they're.
So you said the Celtics aren't getting swept. Let's start there.
Let's see. Let's start there. That was definitely wishful thinking. I do not like Kyrie Irving. I wish I had your poem queued up on Kyrie Irving because I'd play it right now. I'm just not a fan, and that was definitely more in my heart than my brain speaking. I mean, the bottom line is, at the end of the day, I think Brad Stevens is a really good coach. I think the Celtics have a lot of talent right now. I just do not think. I think Brad Stevens is a brilliant college coach, where college coaching is much more actual coaching, where at the NBA level, it's more of management, managing people, managing the players. And I think we've seen Brad Stevens at his best when the Celtics didn't have as much talent. Like he got that team into the playoffs. Like he expedited the rebuild process to make this team competitive just by somehow finding ways to get that Celtics team winning games. And now they have a couple of all-star players. And for me, the franchise has really struggled since they shipped out IT and brought in Kyrie Irving. Because that was really the beginning of Brad Stevens having to actually manage these egos, these elite players. And now Jaylen Brown's become an all-star. Jayson Tatum we don't know how high he's going to get, but by the sounds of it, very high. And it's just we've been stuck in neutral ever since. So I don't know. I think but at the end of the day, I do think there's talent there. And anytime there is talent there, I think, yes, they could knock a couple games off the Nets and make this interesting. But again,
a couple.
Okay,
So,
like I said, lead in with my heart on this one.
For the Celtics to win a game, like 2 of the Nets' big 3 have to have a bad game. 2 of the 3, which is possible. Which started
because the Celtics don't play defense anymore, which used to be our calling card, and it's just gone.
So hang on,
the heart of this team is gone.
So not only do the Celtics have to rely on 2 of the Nets' 3 players having a bad game, but 4 Celtics have to have a good game. Like 4. I feel like if you have 3, that's not enough. Like Marcus Smart, like I was watching the game and the Celtics were up and they're like Marcus Smart was hitting shots and things like that. But I was like, well, that's not sustainable, like at all. Like we know he's just going to do terrible shots. And the Nets weren't. And it's like there's only a matter of time before the Nets start making shots and Marcus Smart does Marcus Smart things or making
decisions. It's also
decisions.
only a matter of time before the Celtics start going back to, this isolation basketball, bunch of long fadeaway 2-point shots. Like I remember it was one of the it was the playing game, and Celtics got up big. I'm like, sweet, can go to bed early, gonna roll. And then Jayson Tatum went 3. No, it was 1 possession where we had 2 offensive rebounds. Besides the offensive rebound, no one else touched the ball by Jayson Tatum. And I'm just like, man, like you're the best player, but when the Celtics move the ball, they're good. This isolation basketball, like they're just not good.
You want to
hear? They don't. And like I said it before, I'm going to say it again. They don't play defense anymore. It drives me insane.
I was hearing this wonderful stat. Bill Simmons went on and he used a stat thing to look. He's like, since the 70s, NBA playoffs, minimum 10 games, minimum average 25 minutes, under 35% field goal shooting or something like that. Who's the worst player in playoff history? Type of thing from the 70s. Do you know who it is?
From the 70s?
From 70s on. From the 70s to now, those requirements. So like
Marcus
minimum 10 playoff games. No, minimum 10. 20. So who was the big signing that the Celtics traded for this year?
Kemba?
Evan Fournier. Fournier. The worst. Ask any Magic's fan. Ask anyone. Like he is terrible in the playoffs. Under 30. Under 36%. Yeah, he's only played playoffs with the Celtics. Under 36%. Over, like, I think he's played like 15 games in the playoffs. Atrocious. Atrocious. It's like, oh, why do we not look at these things when signing players? The players that don't show up. The opposite of playoff Rondo. They're like, yeah, we don't want playoff Rondo. We want Evan Fournier. So that was just a great stat. Another thing you said, I can't remember. So you said the Celtics were soft. You said yes on that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's obvious. Did you say
Very
Jabari
soft.
Parker was a good signing?
No,
Okay. Taco Fall get more minutes?
I didn't even know. I think I said no.
Okay.
That's like
Did you say the Celtics would be a top 4 team? I think you said
no. I definitely said no. I mean, I said Brad Stevens should be fired. So I
Wow.
definitely am not optimistic
Wow.
about the future.
And you
And
said
I like
they
Brad
should keep,
Stevens.
and you said they should keep Marcus Smart, Time Lord Robert Williams, who you've gone to bat for. You said he wouldn't be an all-star. He had 7 blocks the other day. You said the
Look,
Celtics should trade
I had a
Kemba.
second to think. I was waffling between my negative emotions. My heart is very tough, very tough.
So you don't think they should sign Chris Paul, and you also said they should trade Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum. Whew. Which
Well,
one
it's
do you think
not.
they
It's clearly not working. I mean, they're both
which
going
one
to
should they
command it.
trade? Which one?
Oof. It depends what you can get. I don't know what the market's going to be for Jaylen Brown. I think there's a lot of people in the league that are have basically already anointed Jayson Tatum a future top 5 slot in the NBA, which to
Jayson
me,
Tatum is 22 years old. People need to slow down.
I've been saying that for
He's gonna
2
be good.
years. Like, and it's
You've been saying
really
it since
annoying. Like,
you've been saying it before he could drink.
yeah, I have. But like literally today, like Jayson Tatum was on a podcast and they're like asking on a show and they're like asking him to list his top 5 NBA players. I'm like, man, you're down 0-1 in the NBA playoffs.
Why
right
is he
now.
on a podcast?
Why are you going on a show? Like, just stop. Like, I don't know. Just this whole guys repping their brand and stuff. Like, I don't know. Just really rubbed me the wrong way. So I'm just not happy with the Celtics.
So
right
you right now, I mean, I was the one that had to try to tell you the Celtics weren't good, and you are really down on them. Firing our boy Brad Stevens, not even going to win 45 games, not a top 4 team, and you said they should keep Marcus Smart, who like
they probably. I don't know how much I don't know what his salary is right now. I don't know how much he'd demand. I don't know if this is a total rebuild right now, but I do think there's talent here. Something needs to change. Like Brad Stevens has had, in my opinion, decent talent for the last 3-4 years now, and we're not getting any better right now. So something needs to change. Either we need to bring in guys that work better for Brad, or
Brad's problem is that he overachieved so much with less talent that we got this expectation that he should be able to take us to the Eastern Conference Finals with whatever roster is out there. And he's a victim of his own success. And he has a team right now that's not good. Kemba has lost a step. Marcus Smart, who we thought would be the heart and soul of the team, kind of isn't, and kind of makes really poor decisions and is not a good 3-point shooter. And he should not be the third option scorer on a team. He can't be. He should be a Draymond Green type, know his role, and he doesn't. He wants to be the person that goes out and lights it up. And if that's who he's going to be, fine. But that doesn't work with the Celtics. And, you know, I was listening to Tony Allen talk about when he came into the league and Doc Rivers came over and he was like, hey, who took the first shot of the game last year? Or for the first shot of the game? Yeah. And he's like, I did. He's like, you see Paul Pierce over there? He's like, yeah. He's like, he gets paid the big bucks. So you have to do everything he doesn't. And Tony Allen knew right away, I have to be the grind guy. I have to do all the things. Marcus Smart is like, I'll be the grind guy, but I want to also jack up shots. It's like, that's not you. That's not your role. That's Jayson Tatum's role. That's Jaylen Brown's role. That's Kemba's. That's whoever they bring in to replace Kemba, hopefully. But that's not Marcus Smart. And he wants to be that guy. And if he wants to be that guy, send him somewhere else. If he can't be all those other things that the real superstars aren't, then he's holding the team back. And it's a shame to say because he's a great player. That's what I feel about Marcus right now.
I wish Marcus Smart would kind of fill I'd say the Kevin Garnett role that the championship Celtics had. Like Kevin was one of the better, more talented players on the team, but took a backseat offensively, sacrifice, and just went all out on the other aspects of the game that he could still lead at.
Kevin Garnett was always one to defer away from moments.
Kevin Garnett, for the record, would also never appear on a show during a playoff series and talk about who he thinks the top 5 players in the NBA are, especially when he was down 0-1.
Who did he say?
Probably
Who
be
did
in the
Jayson
gym
Tatum
working.
say?
I don't know. I stopped reading the article. I got so pissed off. I was even trying to do more background. Like, was this like pre-recorded? And then I found like 5 different things. Like everything came out today. And I was just like, what is this?
Oh.
Like,
and one of the things, like watching the Celtics or watching the Nets, and this is going back to the LeBron flopping thing, is James Harden, one, is really good at basketball. Probably one of the 10 best basketball players in the entire world at this moment in time. But whenever he gets into the paint, whenever anyone puts a body on him, he does this thing with his head where he just throws it up like so dramatically, like he's just getting bulldozed, and it's up in the air trying
or like he just emerged from the water in a Baywatch movie.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the best description I've ever heard. If you think of a Baywatch person coming out of the water, throwing their head out, like shaking their hair, that's James
Shout
Harden.
out to Pamela Anderson, the original.
I think every 90s kid knows. Everyone knows, but that's what he does. Any sense of contact, and he's throwing his head back like he's Pamela Anderson. And it's so annoying to watch. It's like, you're so good. Why stop it? And Jayson Tatum, when we talk about soft, and he's like Kevin Durant, when Kevin Durant is bullying you, like pushing you off the ball, pushing you, and you're like pleading to the ref, you should push him back. Like, Kevin Durant is string cheese. Like, he's a great player, but like I don't understand. Like Jayson Tatum needs like someone to come in and teach him, like Brad Stevens needs to pull him aside and just tell him to be like, hit him back, do the same thing to him. All the annoying things that defenders do to you to get under your skin, do that. I'm not saying like go under people's feet when they're shooting. I'm not saying undercut people, those dirty things, but all those little things people do with their arms. Oh, and by the way, when did the NBA become like the offensive player can take their arm, grab the defender's arm, shuck it to their side, like push the arm, like their whole body like away with their arm, like they're stiff arming people like it's the Heisman. And Kyrie never gets called for this. Everyone's like, oh, look at the separation. It's like he threw his fucking like his arm.
Look at the separation.
Like,
what do you
he Heisman. He
Shocker,
does
it's a whole arm's length of separation.
He does a spin move with one hand with the ball, and the other hand is just throwing the guy's arm and whole body away to create that separation. I was like, when did the league, has this always been a thing? I remember like playing ball as a kid growing up, and someone like just grabbed my arm and threw it down. I'm like, can you do that? Is that legal? And it's not supposed to be. And you see so much of it in the NBA now. And Harden does that. He'll like throw one arm down, through two arm down. He gets touched. He Baywatches his head in the air. I think that's the term now. Like Harden Baywatches.
The
Baywatch.
Yeah.
And just, it's so frustrating to watch because especially with Kyrie, who has the best handles in the league, maybe the history of the NBA, it's up there. James Harden, one of the best like ball court visions and scorers. And to see that stuff, it's
unneeded.
Annoying.
It just waters the game down.
Like going back to LeBron, one of the toughest, most durable players in the NBA goes down longer than a person that gets KO'd in a boxing fight, that has a concussion, that might maybe brain damage. And like I hurt my shoulder playing basketball several times. And I wouldn't be surprised if one day like LeBron like expects to be helicoptered out of the arena and then comes back midway through. He's like, no, I told the helicopter pilot, I was like, turn it around. I got to get back. Like put it on the DVD. Documentary's gonna sell like that. Like shipping him to Harborview here. It's like, settle down. Like you're okay. You're okay. Get up.
It's the rolling that gets me, honestly. Like when he's down on the court and he just starts like the old 4th grade gym class log roll across. I'm like, man, you're not like getting anything out of this. Like, chill out. Like all that rolling, it's not helping your shoulder. Like, relax, pal.
Oh, I can't stand it. He's too good for that. It doesn't. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. I think we've about covered the playoffs right there. I mean, like, the biggest takeaway from that is definitely the Baywatch. We're cornering.
Nets in 6.
Nets in 6. So Nets in 6. So that's 2 games for the Celtics.
No, for whoever they play in the finals, Nets in 6.
Oh, I'll be so disappointed if that happens.
I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, we'll cover that. We'll cover that later on down the road.
I just need receipts.
We got one subject we're going to conquer today in the NFL. I'm going to say it The one big subject that I can't wait to talk about is Aaron Rodgers, who
What?
has not showed up. Oh, hold on. I'm setting the tone for later on.
Okay.
We're not going to dive into Aaron Rodgers this week.
Okay.
We're gonna get into that next week. We're gonna bring on Mike Lennon.
Is it next week or 2 weeks? Because
we haven't fully decided yet.
Okay.
Within the next 2 weeks, we're gonna have Green Bay Packers super fan Aaron Rodgers. Mike Lennon on the show to discuss the current
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a super fan right now.
I mean, he might. He's got some time on his hands right now. He was doing karaoke today instead of being at training camp. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting.
Hang on, I'm looking forward to talking to Mike about this because we've talked. He's been on. We've talked about Aaron Rodgers, and I want to because if it's a week or two, I don't know when trades can happen within the NFL, but I wanted to just throw this out there because what if this happened? And I'd be excited if it did. And I'm going to ask Mike about it. Okay, Patriots, because the Packers want a QB if they're trading Aaron Rodgers. They've said that. So check it out. Patriots sign Julio Jones. Then they trade whoever they just drafted. I can't remember his name because it doesn't matter. And they trade him and some other picks for Aaron Rodgers. Patriots, Aaron Rodgers, Julio Jones. I'm in. Let's do it. Is that possible, Greg?
I don't know. Aaron Rodgers was doing karaoke today. Anything's possible.
Okay, that's fair. But I wanted to say that on the record in case Bill Belichick does that while I'm sleeping. But I would be excited. Who did the Patriots draft? I can't remember because I'm just thinking about Mac Jones. I'm just thinking about Aaron Rodgers. Right? So I want to go.
I'm thinking about Julio Jones. I'm thinking about Julio Jones
because Julio Jones wants to go to a winner. He's not going to go to and the Patriots have the cap space, but
and he wants to play with Cam Newton.
No, he doesn't.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
Right. Can we talk about? Did you say what Shannon Sharp did on live television?
No.
So I'll break this to you because I watched this today. I think it was today. And some people might know, and some people might not. So he was on Undisputed, and he gets on the show with, gosh, I'm blanking on everyone's name. Skip Bayless, where they do terrible takes all night long. And he gets on the phone and he calls Julio Jones and he goes, Julio. And he's like he's like, you staying in Atlanta? And he's like, no, I'm out. And he's like, you want to go to Dallas? And he goes, no, I want to win. Like something like that. But here's the thing. Shannon Sharp never told him he was live until at the end of the conversation. And people are always talking about Julio's leaving. And it's like, it was insane because I was like,
so I knew that happened. I didn't know Julio Jones didn't know it was live.
Like he might double back and be like, oh, I know he talked about, but like he didn't tell him it was live till like midway through the conversation. And then he had to kind of double down. And I was like, and like people are tweeting about it. They're like, that's illegal in California. You can't not disclose that you're being recorded. And I don't care if Julio backs it up. If he's like, I mean what I said, whatever. That is incredibly the shots fired coming early, unprofessional. Like you can't do that. You can't ask someone those types of questions and not have them know that they are on live.
No one is going to come on that show ever again.
Dude, no one's going to answer Shannon like his phone calls again. Like that's insane. Like to set him up, like because
that has Julio's to be set up.
Maybe it was, but like as a professional, like you still have to say that in the beginning. Like it was out of this world. So watch the clip of it happening because I was like, oh, he's going to tell him. And
what was Skip Bayless looking like?
Skip Bayless was like, don't go to Dallas. Like, I don't know. Skip Bayless is being an idiot.
I'd have been horrified.
It was weird.
I'd have been like, this is my show that's now going to be canceled because of a lawsuit.
No, it's not going to get canceled. Like, because Julio Jones is going to want to save face. And he didn't say anything terrible about his team. He just said that he was out, which isn't the way that Atlanta fans want to hear it and all that stuff. So, like, how that news broke was just alarming and kind of repulsive and like really. And Shannon starts like playing up like, "Who's my boy? That's your Uncle Shannon Sharp." It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're on the air. Like, tell him,
terrible uncle.
Give him a chance. Yeah, that's a bad uncle. Like, that's ruining his reputation. Like moving forward, and people are going to look back at that. It's not cool. So I just wanted to throw that out before we get into the best time. That is always
Tebow time.
Oh,
yeah, cut you off.
Let's do it.
No,
right, so we're setting you up.
We don't need to launch into this one too long. I was just kind of curious. Tim Tebow back in the NFL, got a contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars, played tight end. Last I knew, he was waffling around at quarterback, then minor league baseball, then working as an analyst, and now somehow he's a tight end. I don't even know where to start with this. I'm just kind of shocked that he's back in the NFL. I mean, this is probably something he should have tried a long time ago, trying to be a tight end. By all accounts, there's multiple teams that wanted him to try this. Do you think this was a good move by the Jaguars?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
Because his coach, Urban Meyer, had Tim Tebow in the locker room in Florida. And by all accounts, all of Tim Tebow's teammates throughout history have loved him. He's a great locker room presence. He can't play quarterback. And he's willing to reconnect with his college quarterback to have a chance at a roster. He's not guaranteed a spot. Everyone's like, we don't know if he's going to play or not. But if Tim Tebow, who has always been athletic and physically built to play other positions, like you said, where he would have been really successful, and you know the leadership that he brings to a team, and you have a rookie quarterback, and you want to set a precedent for that team with work ethic and what you bring to the locker room, there's almost no better guy. Like Tim Tebow's interview ruined Josh McDaniels' head coaching career because Josh McDaniels was so enamored with this person and his approach to the game and his work ethic that he traded up to draft him and got fired. And everyone's like, no one wanted to mess around with Josh Daniels because like you picked Tim Tebow and you ruined the Broncos. And that's true. And then he had to go back to the Patriots, rebuild his career before he would be offered a head coaching job that he, accepted and then turned down. But that's a different story. So
sorry, Colts.
So Tim Tebow is a presence. And when you have the opportunity to bring someone like that into the locker room, to give him a shot to see if he can play the tight end because he's still been in shape. He's physically built. He has one of the best work ethics. And to say like, hey, if he can be a legit tight end and we can have him in the locker room, and I'm the only kind of coach and person that can convince him to not play quarterback and to bring that to our team. And we can have that camaraderie and bring that in to bring in Trevor Lawrence, who could be a generational talent. Hands down. Yes. Like sign. Where do I sign for $900,000, not guaranteed? Why would you not?
I just think all the extra stuff isn't worth it. Like if I was another player and all the media attention is constantly on Tim Tebow,
good. Take it off your rookie. Take it off your rookie. Take that attention off Trevor Lawrence.
If Tim Tebow declined interviews once in a while and just like didn't talk, I'd be like, okay,
hang on,
cool.
Greg. Jacksonville Jaguars are getting media attention. Get out. Get out of here.
Every headline's about him. There's plenty of quotes.
Who cares? Jacksonville Jaguars are finally getting headlines. They might actually get a game on prime time because Tim Tebow's on the field, not because Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback.
I don't want the Jacksonville Jaguars on prime time. I don't want to watch that garbage. I don't want Tim Tebow.
Greg,
I'm out here in Wisconsin trying to watch the New England Patriots, and if I have to watch a single Jaguars game in prime time instead because of Tim Tebow, the fourth-string tight end, I'm going to be even more angry. No,
yeah, you might be angry. You know what? But you know who wants prime time? Every one of his teammates. And if Tim Tebow gets some prime time, sign him up. They're all about it. Tim Tebow brings in the locker room. You know what? Because it doesn't matter what I like, what I want. It matters what that locker room and the Jacksonville Jaguars want and need. And Tim Tebow, if he can make the roster, if he can contribute to the team.
The Jets tried doing all sorts of different things with Tebow.
At quarterback.
Nothing. No, they had him on all. They built special packages for him. They tried to get him in the game. They played him on all sorts of positions.
The Patriots signed him too, Greg. The Patriots signed him too. So let's not pretend
the Patriots only played him at quarterback. The Jets tried to do all sorts of different things with him.
Patriots signed Tim Tebow. Hey, I'm fine with it because what he brings and all those things. And yeah, he does take a lot of the headlines. He brings a circus. That's not his fault. That's the media's fault because they're obsessed with Tim Tebow.
He plays into it 100%. He plays into it all the time. Oh,
he's a good interview. He's a great analyst. And he has an amazing work ethic and brings things to the locker room. All of his teammates love him, and he could be good at tight end.
I do not think all his teammates love him. All his teammates do not love him.
Okay, he has a great locker room presence, and let's not forget that if he can play tight end, then great. If he can be,
he does have a great work ethic.
If he can be a good tight end in the NFL and he can contribute to that team in that manner, then why shouldn't he be on the team?
That's fine.
Because he has to do those things. Because again, like the circus thing, the media thing, that's why Colin Kaepernick has a hard time in the NFL. Why he couldn't get resigned because what he brings to the team and the distraction. And that is just such garbage that is a reason for a player not to play the sport that they love. And I'm not going to support it for Kaepernick for that being a reason of being like, well, he brings all this stuff to the team and unwanted attention. I'm not going to support it for Tebow. I'm not going to support it for all these things outside of white supremacy or racism. If you bring that to your team and that's a distraction,
Kaepernick's actually had success in the NFL. Like,
so is
Tim
Tebow. Tebow won a
has
playoff game. Tim Tebow won a playoff game.
I know, and I actually wish Tim Tebow.
Do you not
hadn't
remember
been...
the streak of Tebow time?
I
where
remember.
It didn't matter where you were. You wanted nothing more to watch Tim Tebow in the fourth quarter. All of America just wanted to see Tebow time.
I remember it very clearly. In fact, I think it's unfair how his career panned out after that, because he literally took the Broncos to the playoffs, won a playoff game, and then never started another NFL game at quarterback. So I actually think he got robbed there. Like, he deserved a chance to at least continue or get a shot somewhere.
And that's the media's fault. And I'm not going to hold that against him now that the media is still obsessed with him, that he doesn't get a chance to contribute on a team with his leadership, with his work ethic, with his physical abilities. I'm not going to hold that against him. If anything, I hold it against the media for taking the spotlight, and hopefully he defers. We'll see how he responds. We'll see how he works, and give him a chance. I'm all aboard. Tebow time. Let's go one more time. Let's get a Tebow pass.
No Tebow
to
time.
Trevor Lawrence in the end zone. I'm all about it. I'm signed up. I'm getting season tickets. Let's go.
Tebow time. All right. Last segment here. It is time for trivia. I haven't done this in a while. I had to. So
hang on. Before we do trivia,
I
have a proposition. So
Greg. Oh yeah. Yep.
Is planning to visit later in June. Was getting on the books, and I wanted to make a bet with you, a wager, to see if you'd be up for it, because I know you've been getting in shape, know you've been running, know you've been getting fit, practicing with your team. So here was the bet. So when you are here, I was going to say you are going to. I am not fit. I played basketball for the first time since the pandemic, and I pulled something in my knee and hurt my shoulder. So had about 15 turnovers, and so I'm not fit to race or run against you. But here's the thing. I wanted to say that you would race my wife, Ashley, 3-mile race. And if you win, I will cover your beer tab for the whole time you're here. If you lose, you have to walk my dog Archer once a day and clean up all of his poop the entire time while you're here. Do you accept my terms?
Has Ashley been running?
She ran for the first time yesterday in like a long time. Do you accept my terms? My wife is not even 5'3" and has small legs.
Do I get to choose when the race is? And are we actually racing side by side, or is it time? I don't want to come off the plane, or we're out till like 1 in the morning in Seattle.
Or we can do it before, like maybe a couple days before, where you both set the time, you put on your little apps, and we coordinate this.
I like that before I get on the plane.
Okay. So you're in?
Can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to have to practice, but I accept these terms.
Woo, yes.
Unless I find out you are not being truthful with me about Ashley running for the first time in a while the other day.
First time in a month or two.
Oh, screw it. I need some motivation. I will accept your terms.
Love it. You're getting shredded. She's a machine. She's like the $1 million man.
Oh, God. I think I already got this. Whatever. All right. We good? Time for trivia? Last segment.
Trivia, let's do it. At least I got one win right now.
This question was actually submitted from none other than Gary Gilmore, my dad. He actually asked me this question, and I got it.
Ooh.
Former Patriots Patrick Chung and Nate Ebner own a team called the New England Free Jacks. What sport do the Free Jacks play?
I'm going back between lacrosse and rugby, and I'm going to say rugby.
That is correct. Well done. Yeah, and Ebner played on the I think it was the USA Sevens team for rugby for a couple of years. All right, back to the NBA. Where were the Utah Jazz originally located?
Oh, wait.
It's south.
Yeah. New Orleans?
New Orleans, correct. That was a good one. 1974.
It's not Jazz.
They moved to Salt Lake City in 79. Yeah, Jazz. That's actually good. Yeah. All right. Whose ear?
Yeah,
did
because when
Mike
you think of Utah, you think of smooth jazz.
Who? Whose ear did Mike Tyson bite off during a
Evander
1997?
Holyfield.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, 3 for 3.
Oh man, Whew. I wish I shot this well when I played basketball. I
The
bricked
final
everything. I looked like
question.
Philip Seymour Hoffman out there. Right now.
Raindrops. Oh, such a good scene. Oh man. All right, this is gonna be the first ever 4 for 4 here. I'm really excited.
No, stop that.
No, this is gettable. This is very gettable.
Okay.
Who was the first rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl era to throw 3 touchdown passes in a playoff game? I'm going to let you take one get. Seriously? Did you just say Tom Brady? That is wrong.
No, wait.
That's
That's terrible.
wrong.
Wait.
Tom Brady's rookie year, he didn't see the field.
No, I thought. Oh no, that's right.
I'll give you a second chance here. I'll make this multiple choice.
Can we edit that out? Okay. Wait. Well, give me a sec. Okay. Give me multiple choice.
Hold on.
Who's
Writing down a couple answers here. Mixing them up. All right. Is it A, Dak Prescott, B, Aaron Rodgers, C, Patrick Mahomes, or D, Alex Smith?
3 touchdowns in a Super Bowl?
Who was the first rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl era to throw 3 touchdown passes in a playoff game?
Okay. Well, 1, Dak Prescott hasn't played in the Super Bowl. 2, Patrick Mahomes didn't.
In the Super Bowl era.
Was it? So you said they were a rookie, though. So they had to make the Super Bowl as a rookie.
No. Who was the first rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl era?
So early. So when you said after the merge,
Yep.
So in the playoffs,
yeah, first rookie quarterback in this era. That's what I should have said. In this era of the NFL to throw 3 touchdown passes in a playoff game.
Sorry. So when I first heard it, I was thinking like in a Super Bowl game, rookie, and I was like, wait.
So
Tom Brady
that's why we'll write off the Tom Brady.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Even though I was still wrong because he wasn't a rookie. I'm going to say Alex Smith.
That is wrong. It was Dak Prescott. I was hoping I didn't give it away when I cut you off right after you said, well, it's not Dak Prescott. And I was like, no, it could be. But yeah.
I'm fine 3 for 4. 75%.
In a playoff loss to the Green Bay Packers on January 15th, 2016, Dallas Cowboys rookie quarterback Dak Prescott completed 24 of 38 attempts for 302 yards and 3 touchdowns. 3 for 4. Not bad.
Can I hit you with a trivia question? Bonus trivia?
You can.
What NBA player won the Heisman Award?
Oh, wow.
Former NBA player won the Heisman.
Former NBA player won the Heisman.
Do I need to narrow it down for you? I can. What former New York Knicks basketball player won the Heisman Award?
Oh man, the former New York Knick. How long ago was this?
It was in the 90s. The teams that I love, they'd always say it on the broadcast. They're like, oh, by the way, this. Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't he playing safety or something?
I can't remember, but he won the Heisman. They just never shut up about it on every broadcast. Whenever Charlie Ward takes the court, it's kind of one of those things where it's just like the fact they have to say every time. They're like, oh, by the way, did you know he won the Heisman? Yeah. Yeah. Every game you tell me.
All right. That's our show this week. Thanks for listening. As a reminder, follow us on all social media. Please subscribe to our Patreon. Next week, or within the next 2 weeks, we'll say, we're hoping to get Packers superfan Mike Lennon back on the show.
And we are going to do a special segment where we are going to do a draft between me, Greg, and Eric, where we draft 5 teams each of the best baseball movies of all time. So we are each going to have picks to pick. We'll have a randomized draft, and we're going to see who can come up with the best 5 baseball movies of all time. So that's going to be another show we're going to have as well. And
Actually,
I'm going
some
to win.
good ones for that. I'm looking forward to that. All right, this is our normal time now. Mondays.
And yes, I'm a Kraken fan, huge Kraken fan. Let's go.
Huge
Stadiums
Kraken
like
fan.
2 blocks from my place. Season tickets, probably not. They're on hold. You can't get them. They're $1 million. Tech money is ridiculous here, but I will watch from my TV.
Mondays, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. That's my time, and 7 o'clock out on the West Coast.
West Coast is the best
can tune in live, Facebook, also YouTube, actually. And, of course, we're on all major podcast platforms. All right, that's our show. Thanks for listening. Coast to Coast podcast is hosted by Greg Gilmore. That's me, Phil Marino. The show is produced and roughly edited by yours truly. Feedback, you can always reach us via email at talkcoasttocoastpodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's talkcoasttocoastpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.